Hiya. Now then, Vinyl Monkey here. Welcome everybody. I say everybody, although it's encouraging to see that the numbers of people watching this seem to be diminishing every week, which I take it as really positive news that there's lockdown restrictions come into play, that people are finding much better things to do than watch some old fella rambling on about his vinyl collection. But anyway, we're about a third of the way through this alphabetical tour through this record collection, and this week we ought to be on to H. But I've had to give my den over for the last week to a visitor, and that just means I haven't had a chance to listen to any LPs, to do any preparation, and believe me, it does take a bit of agonising over what to include in this alphabetical collection, or more significantly what to exclude. So we will get to H next week. So this week I thought we'd just have a quick run through some recent acquisitions that I've acquired since I started this series, and I'll run through the ones, or some of the ones I've acquired that between the letters A and F, and just introduce them, and these might feature in some future episodes in more depth, who knows. I mean, I've only had a chance to probably at the most one or at the most two listens to these albums, so but just to give you the flavour of what I've been buying, particularly since the record shops reopened a few weeks ago. Let's have a quick run through them. I'll do it in alphabetical order. And the first one, I did introduce actually in the first of these sessions, Laurie Anderson's Big Signs, and I spotted this one, a 1986 album, Home of the Brave, which is technically, it's a soundtrack of her concert film that she made, Home of the Brave, but it's, in essence, it's an album, it's new material. It's 1986. It has much of the similar sort of soundscape as Big Signs, so if you like that, you'll like this. First listening, sounds really, really great. There are some really outstanding tracks on here. It's made me want to look up the film, which I've not seen before, of the concert. So that's Home of the Brave, Laurie Anderson. The next one, it's an album I've had on CD for a long time, but I picked it up on vinyl. This is by the band Music from Big Pink, and Big Pink was the name of the large house in sort of outer state New York, I think, where they were living at the time and recording and writing songs, and often as a backing band for Bob Dylan. But this is their own album, and there's my phone going in the background. So, but this is it's a classic, really, one of the all-time classics. All great stuff. Music from Big Pink, the band, from 1968. The next one. Goodness me, where has this album been all my life? I've read the odd thing about it. I'd never come across it anywhere near the time when it came out. This is the Bee Gees, Odessa, from 1969. It is incredible. It's in this lovely box with sort of a flock sort of cover on it. It's a double album. It's absolutely stunning. Some of the tracks are somewhere between maybe the Beatles and the Walker Brothers, but there's lush harmonies, orchestration, just absolutely stunning stuff, which this is going to get played, and I'm sure it's going to become one of my favourites, but it's on the first listen or two, absolutely incredible. I think it's, from what I've read, it's divided opinion, both between critics, fans, and in fact I think members of the the Bee Gees themselves, Barry, Robin Morris, but it does demonstrate their quality as singers and songwriters. It's absolutely stunning in my opinion, the Bee Gees, Odessa. The next one, good old Chuck Berry. This is from 1962, simply titled Chuck Berry, a mono album picked up in the bargain bin. Remarkable. It sounds great for 1962 and for what was probably a budget album at that time. It's got some of the greats, Johnny B. Good, Maybelline. Yeah, great stuff. Sweet Little 16, just absolutely brilliant. There's only one Chuck Berry, and yeah, I'm really chuffed with this. It was a pound or two, very, very well spent. The next one are one of my favourite bands from the early 70s, Big Star. This is their first album, #1 record, from 1972, and they only had 2 or 3 albums, but they were a vehicle for the talents of Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, who went on to influence many bands who followed them. All of their albums were great, just absolutely fantastic songwriting. I mean, if you look up on YouTube, the second track on this album, the Ballad of El Goodo, if you're not familiar with Big Star, there's some great examples on YouTube of them playing that one live. But superb album, and this has been re-released on the Kraft record label. It's been remastered, analog remastered, and this is, yeah, it's a nice new copy of an old classic Big Star #1 record, 1972. Then I think I mentioned this one before, the Black Sabbath Paranoid box set. I think I said I'd been looking for a copy of Paranoid for ages, and I would never pay top whack for the original swirly label copy, but I eventually bought this box set, paid quite a bit of money for it new, but in the box, I'll just quickly run through what comes in the box. The original LP, Paranoid, they're all in gatefold sleeves, copies of the originals, nice copies, nice heavy vinyl, and this is made from the 2012 remix, but it just demonstrates what a landmark album Paranoid was, and all of those tracks on there, from War Pigs right through to Fairies Wear Boots at the end, absolute classics. So that's the original 1970 album. Then you get the same album, but quad in stereo, so I think this was quadraphonic mix, and it's been reduced back to stereo. I've had a quick play of this, and I must admit, on first listening, not sure exactly what they were trying to get at with this, but I'm going to give it another go. There must be something in that mix, so I'll have to give that a further listening to. And then there are 3 live albums, all in this, which are concerts from Montreux and Brussels, both from 1970, in a nice gatefold sleeve there. And I've had a play of one of the concerts, and the quality is really good, the sound recording quality. It's a bit alarming to hear Ozzy Osbourne singing without the sort of echo and studio effects that normally cover his voice, but it's good. It shows what a good tight band they were, and Iommi's guitar stands out really well, and the bass and drums in there. So that's 5 LPs you get with it. You also get a copy of the programme from that 1970 tour. You get a poster, which I won't fold it out fully, will I? No, I won't fold it out fully, which I suspect is going to stay in the box. It's not going to go on my bedroom wall, I don't think. And then you also get a nice book, which hardback book, which is largely it's the story, the making of the album, but it's largely as well press cuttings from the music press at the time, and yeah, nice quality hardback book. So all in all, really pleased with that. I mean, it cost 75 quid. You can pay a little bit more, but I think I found that was about the best price I could find. But that only works out about 15 quid an album if there's 5 of them. So yeah, pleased with it. It's Black Sabbath Paranoid, originally from 1970. And then moving swiftly on, John Coltrane, his classic album, A Love Supreme. This has been remastered, analog remastered and repackaged, beautifully repackaged, I've got to say. It's on the Impulse label. The sound is great. I don't have to say anything. If you're into jazz, you know all about John Coltrane and A Love Supreme. Absolutely beautiful album. I'll leave it at that. The next one, out of the bargain bin again, £1 paid for the legendary Sam Cooke. This is a 1971 compilation on one of those budget labels, the Camden label, Pickwick International, and it's just a collection of some of Sam Cooke's classic songs. But it's pretty good, the sound's good, it does highlight the outstanding sweet voice of Sam Cooke, so again, can't go wrong for a quid for that. That will get played. I will get my money's worth out of that. Sam Cooke, the legendary Sam Cooke. And then Bob Dylan, Rough and Rowdy Ways. Bob's last album from 2020. So took me a bit of time to get that one. It's a double album. It actually includes one track, the Murder Most Foul, story about the Kennedy's assassination, which takes up the whole of side 4, and most of the others are long songs and story songs. And if you want to give this a listen, just try out the first track, I Contain Multitudes, which is absolutely fantastic. But Dylan is a genuine one-off. I don't know whether there'll be anything like Bob Dylan again, who can just come up with absolutely stunning lyrics and songs like these so far into his career. He's backed as usual by a tight band, really good sound. Rough and Rowdy Ways, Bob Dylan 2020. And then lastly, this one's come to me in a bit of an odd way. This is the English folk band Fotheringay. I don't know whether you can see them dressed as sort of minstrels there and then playing live in all the sort of drippy hippie gear. And this is the sort of album that at the time, this is 1970, I would have given a major swerve to. Never into the sort of hippie, folky English sort of stuff, but this came to me by way of the now sadly deceased owner of the other record shop. Gave a few albums to my partner's son and said, see if you can make a few, Bob, on eBay, so I'll give them as a present. And this was one of them, and it ended up with me anyway. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's really a vehicle for Sandy Denny's songwriting and singing, and it does illustrate the quality of that singing, and particularly on maybe the opening track, Nothing More, or the second track, The Sea. Yeah, listen to that one, The Sea by Fotheringay. And there's also some beautiful lead guitar, very simple but very beautiful, and I guess that's Jerry Donahue, I think, on lead guitar. So that's Fotheringay, from 1970. So that's just a flavour of some of the albums I've acquired over the last couple of months since I started doing this series. And in a few days time, hopefully, now I've got my room back, I'm going to be speaking to IKEA to get another shelf to help store this expanding collection. And next week we'll be back on track with the letter H. Cheers, bye.